My parents claim that my sister's betrayal with my fiancé is part of a divine plan. And now that the family business has started to crumble, they are begging me to save what can still be saved. I reminded them that this too is part of a heavenly design. I thought I had already overcome all possible obstacles, but here I am again at a crossroads where I have to make a difficult decision. I no longer want to be one of those people who have to be as strong as warriors this year. I am exhausted. All I desire is peace and to forget all the pain and suffering I've been through, as you well know. Unfortunately, the past has caught up with me, and now I face an extremely complicated dilemma. If this had happened a few months earlier, it would have been easy to decide. I would never have helped the struggling family business. I would have said, "No way am I carrying this legacy." But now, I'm in a new phase, a more sensitive phase. Everything is going well for me, and there's no room for grudges or resentment. A part of me feels pity for what they are going through, but what about what I felt a few months ago? Where is their responsibility in all of this? It should be easy to say no, but I also think that if the family business disappears, my grandparents' legacy will disappear with it. I have the chance to save what they built and pass down to me. So why let my conflicted feelings toward my parents prevent me from doing so? Perhaps you're wondering what they did that was so terrible. Well, let me take you back 2 years. I was at the peak of happiness, ready to marry someone who made me feel incredible, someone I believed was the perfect man. My parents introduced me to Michael, and at first, I wanted nothing to do with this relationship. I didn't care if this union strengthened our family. In fact, I even suggested they introduce him to my younger sister, Emily. However, when I met Michael, something changed in me. A year before he proposed, we had already set a date. He wanted me to become a devoted housewife to our future family, so I dropped out of college and started looking for a house to settle into. Yes, I admit I was naive, but I swear I was blinded by love. For months, this man made me feel like I had found my shining armor, and he even made me thank my parents for introducing him to me. I had been raised with certain principles that I always tried to uphold, so despite the pressure he exerted, I tried to incorporate them into our relationship. Unfortunately, everything fell apart during the wedding week. That week was, without exaggeration, the worst of my life. We were watching something and he fell asleep while his phone kept ringing. I had never checked his phone before, I swear, but that day something pushed me to do it. When I looked at the screen, I saw that my sister had written, "Make sure my sister doesn't find out about this." At that moment, I thought they were planning a surprise for me, so I decided to take a look at the messages. I used his fingerprint to unlock the device and started reading. That's when my world collapsed. I saw suggestive messages between my fiancé and my sister, conversations where they planned secret meetings. She said she wanted him, that it wasn't fair that he spent so much time with me, and that he needed to make sure I didn't find out. The messages dated back several months, and the worst part was that he said he had chosen the wrong sister because I was too cold. I also found videos and photos of them together that made me sick. After that, I continued to explore the phone and discovered the group chat he maintained with his friends. I thought to myself, I'm already hurt. A little more won't make a difference. And there, he was boasting that he still had Emily, the more experienced one, available, that I was the perfect wife for his image, and that he would always have access to my sister because she offered him things that, obviously, I couldn't. His friends celebrated all of this. One of them said, "Man, you're lucky. 2 beautiful sisters." Though there was a compliment in there, it didn't make me feel any better. I couldn't take it anymore. I was furious and wanted answers. So I texted my sister from her phone and told her to come immediately. I went to take a shower because I felt dirty. Every time I looked at him sleeping, I imagined him laughing at me with his friends, and fear overwhelmed me. When I came out, I heard someone knocking on the door. Emily had arrived. I ignored her 1,000 questions and dragged her into the bedroom. Our commotion woke up Michael, the sleeping prince, and he was not happy. I told him I knew everything and threw the ring at him. I hoped he would beg, But Michael simply asked me if I was sure I could find another good match now that I was damaged goods. I replied that I would rather die single than stay with a miserable person like him. Meanwhile, Emily just stood there, staring at me. She asked me if I didn't think it was time to leave since I no longer wanted to get married. And then, they threw me out. I ran to tell my mother everything. And do you know what she told me? That I needed to go back and apologize to him for returning the ring because the wedding was approaching and it wouldn't look good for the family. Thinking she had lost her mind, I went to tell my father everything, who had always treated me like his princess. He simply told me it was my fault, that marriage is not a game, and that I was naive. That's how my world collapsed. My entire family turned against me. They pushed me to apologize and continue with the marriage. But deep down, I knew what had happened was wrong. He wanted me to give up everything for him while he was cheating with my sister. He had lied to me for months so that I wouldn't suspect anything. Even being naive, I knew something was off. So I canceled the engagement and was disinherited, because for them, this marriage was part of the plans they had drawn up for me. Before this happened, I had set aside some money and moved into the apartment my grandmother had left me, the only place my father couldn't touch. I suffered a lot. My ex tarnished my name and spread rumors about me. I lost my family's protection, and, as if that wasn't enough, they announced the engagement between him and my sister 2 weeks after our breakup. My mother said that this was how things were meant to be, that if God allowed it, it was because it was planned. I was completely alone, isolated. The worst part was seeing their marriage months later on social media. It was perfect, exactly what I had dreamed of. I couldn't stand the looks of pity or the judgment from people. So, I left. 2 years have passed, and today my mother called me. She told me that the company is bankrupt, that my father is showing early signs of dementia, and that they need me to come back and run the company. Now, suddenly they are willing to do anything to bring me back and avoid bankruptcy. Honestly, I can't believe it. How dare they come looking for me after throwing me away like garbage? On the other hand, I wonder if this isn't my opportunity to return and make them pay for what they've done to me. I don't yet know exactly how I'll do it, but I'm sure an idea will come. If there's one thing I've learned these past 2 years, it's that I am capable of much more than I ever imagined. I will keep you updated. Update 1. A month has gone by, and I visited my family. You're probably wondering why I would do that after all they've put me through. Well, let's just say curiosity got the better of me. I also wanted some kind of closure after the way they treated me. Before you criticize me, let me share some hot gossip. It turns out things aren't at all what they seemed. I spoke with my mother these past few weeks, and she ended up telling me everything. At first, I told her to leave me alone, but she insisted so much that I decided to play along to see how far it would go. I found out that my father's health has deteriorated considerably over the past 2 years, directly impacting the business. My mother tried to intervene, but managing a company is really not her forte. As for my sister, she's not even an option. She has never taken a management course, and let's just say intelligence has never visited her head. And her husband? Well, he's busy with other affairs. But what she doesn't know is that her dear son-in-law is broke. I learned from reliable rumors that his family disinherited him financially after what he did to me. Finally, his family showed more decency than mine. Could we trade them? He must now make a living on his own, but obviously he's failing miserably. Apparently, they survive thanks to the pocket money my sister Emily gives them, but it won't last long. My mother knows nothing about this, of course, and my source is reliable. Don't worry, it's a cousin from his family, whom we'll call Lisa. Yes, it's no coincidence. Lisa was the only person who cared about me when my engagement was broken off. We talked a bit over these 2 years, but I asked her not to tell me anything about my ex. However, when my mother reappeared in my life, curiosity got the better of me, so I asked for information about him and his marriage. And if you're wondering why they don't hire someone to run the company, it's because my father trusts no one else and categorically refuses. Although he's not medically fit to run the business, he still holds certain rights. My mother tried to intervene with lawyers to prevent him from making decisions, but he blocks all their attempts, The only person he trusts is me. So, all the responsibility rests on my shoulders. Great, right? They have no options left, and I am their only salvation. I decided to help them, but with one condition. Each of them must sincerely apologize for what they put me through. And not just any apology, they must be deeply honest. Otherwise, I won't lift a finger. While this is the only part they know, my revenge doesn't stop there, but they don't need to know that. Tomorrow, I will have a meeting with all of them. I've just landed, so jet lag is killing me, and obviously, I won't see them today. My mother has the task of informing my sister that I'm in town, and that she needs to apologize to me. If she doesn't, everyone will go bankrupt. I never thought power would feel so good. I could get used to it. I love seeing them squirm, knowing that I am their best chance to save the business. My journey over the past 2 years proves it, and they should feel grateful if I don't ask them to kneel while they apologize. I can't wait to see their expressions when they have to beg forgiveness for hurting and ruining me. They truly thought I would be out of their lives forever, that they would never need me again. But karma was quietly working, waiting for the right moment for my revenge. I'm still thinking about how I will make Michael and Emily suffer now that, ironically, I will be the one supporting this family. At least, I know I won't support them. Update 2. 3 full months have passed, and honestly, these have been the most fun I've had in a long time. It all started the night my sister had to apologize to me for betraying me. I swear, it looked like she would rather jump off a building than ask for forgiveness, but she had no choice. Emily knew that if I didn't save the company, all her privileges would disappear, and she would become an ordinary woman. In reality, she would be worse than an ordinary woman because she has no real life skills. I doubt she would have survived like I did after leaving town. When I left, I devoted myself entirely to my studies and started postgraduate training. At the same time, I found a job in my field. And not only did I succeed, but I was exceptional. I was totally motivated by the need to prove that I was much more than a promised bride or my parents' daughter. Believe it or not, within 6 months at the company, I was promoted. My superior, who was retiring, was so impressed with my work that she personally recommended me to replace her. Obviously, this generated a lot of doubts among my colleagues, as well as my own fear of being an imposter. Despite everything, I finished that year at the top, with my diploma in hand and having proven that I was the right person for the job. My performance review clarified everything and silenced all criticism. What I mean is that my sister could never accomplish what I achieved. She is inferior to me, and to be honest, I loved every second of seeing her beg for my forgiveness. My parents, on the other hand, didn't hesitate for a second to apologize. In fact, they seemed desperate for me to accept the CEO position. These past 3 months, I've been extremely busy doing what was necessary. Plus, I've been forced to attend an endless number of events. As CEO and public face of the company, my parents dragged me to every gala possible. Speaking of Michael, would you believe me if I told you he had the audacity to try to be nice to me? He complimented me, saying that the role of CEO suited me perfectly, and this coming from the same man who pushed me to abandon my postgraduate studies just as I was about to finish them. His comments, though disguised as respect, only increased my irritation. Of course, I could have told him to leave and derive some satisfaction from it, but I had other plans, much more satisfying for him. Although he pretends to admire me, he continues to overestimate the power he thinks he has over me. So, little by little, I left the door slightly ajar, and now we almost talk with some familiarity. Yes, he confirmed the rumors. He's broke. So I was direct. I suggested that I could help him financially in exchange for a meeting at a specific hotel. And do you know what he did? He didn't hesitate for 2 seconds. He accepted the idea of cheating on my sister for money without thinking, showing even more clearly what kind of despicable person he is. In a few hours, we will meet at the hotel. He thinks I'm going to give him money in exchange for intimacy, or that I'm interested somehow. Poor fool. The only thing that will touch him is karma, and I doubt he'll enjoy that deadly contact. Not literally. I'm not going to kill him and throw his body to the alligators, but metaphorically. Besides, I can't believe he really thinks I'm stupid enough to Let him lay a hand on me. There wouldn't be enough soap in the world to clean me after that. It would be horrible. It would be like being with my sister. I could never be with someone who has been with her. It would be disgusting. Anyway, my sister doesn't care about that. I think she likes being a little dirty. Update 3. 3 weeks have passed. They thought I was a weak girl, a savior who would rush to save them when their house of cards collapsed, that they could throw me away and then come looking for me when it suited them. Well, no. In my last update, I talked about the plan I had for my ex, right? Well, the day has come. I gave him the exact time and place to meet me at the hotel, and I even gave him instructions on how he should welcome me. What he didn't know was that I wouldn't be alone. I called my sister earlier that same day and invited her to the hotel spa under the pretext of wanting to repair our sisterly relationship. Yes, I was playing with both of them. Of course, she suspected my sudden offer and tried to refuse, but I proposed a tempting incentive. I told her that afterward, we could go shopping and I would pay for everything. That's when she lost all logic. Money and shopping make her vulnerable. I remember a time when I was like that, letting myself be blinded by material things and thinking it was a sign of affection. How naive, but life cured me of all that. Today, I can buy those things myself, the same things Michael used to manipulate me. Sorry for the digression. I timed everything perfectly so that my sister would accompany me to the hotel room because supposedly, I had forgotten my card. When she opened the door, she found her husband on the bed, a rose in his mouth and some whipped cream in a strategic place. I had seen this, in a movie, and just thinking about it made me laugh. I had left the items on the bed and insisted that he do exactly that. I didn't expect him to actually obey, but like the perfect idiot he is, he did exactly what I asked. I should have asked for more. It was a brutal blow. Again, he was caught cheating on his partner with his sister-in-law, except this time, the roles were reversed. Emily froze and said, "But what the hell are you doing here? And why is there whipped cream on your dindolim?" Apparently that's how she affectionately calls his ego between his legs. The funniest part of my plan is that I knew things could heat up between them, so this room wasn't my suite. My suite was on another floor. This room had been booked by my ex, and I had asked him to leave a key card at reception, which I picked up earlier. Apparently, they destroyed everything, but I didn't stay to witness the scene. I went to have a drink at the hotel bar while they loudly discussed their relationship, with a bit of violence involved. It's just a rumor, but the dindolim seems to have taken a hit too. Although reception didn't inform me out of respect for privacy, I also heard rumors that the room cost over $1,000 in damages. It was a $200 suite, so that must have stung on my ex's credit card. If I were his friend, I would advise him to stop thinking with his dindolim. To be honest, I don't know for sure if he went to the hospital after that, but the rumors say there was blood and whipped cream involved. If the hotel preserves client confidentiality, the hospital does too. But I prefer to believe the source of the rumors. And this is just the beginning. They don't yet know what I have planned for my parents in all of this. Update 4. First, I apologize. I completely disappeared and probably worried everyone. No, I'm not in prison, I'm fine. It just wasn't the right time to post an update. So, before anything else, I want to apologize. I could have explained more in my last message. The truth is that I already knew chaos was going to hit the company, but I couldn't say too much. My parents might not read it, but my sister and Mr. Dindolim, as some comments call him, might have. However, now I can be honest with you. And here's the truth. I was never there to save the company. I was there to destroy it. Around the time my mother contacted me, I started planning how to ruin them. Come on. Only my parents believed I would come back and forgive everything for this. Excellent opportunity to join the family business. Excellent for me. Excellent for destroying them from the inside. And I thank my father for the opportunity. Since I took the position, my father's health has worsened considerably, so I don't know how much he understood of my thanks. And to be honest, in this part of my revenge, I didn't have to make much effort. I simply did my job in the worst possible way and let the company follow its natural course until it became impossible to keep it open. As CEO, I took care of liquidating their assets and compensating all employees. There was a check for $2,500 left, which I handed over to my mother. With my father's advancing illness and my mother not knowing what to do with the company, I took full control. But as I said, I can't take all the responsibility for this revenge. I don't think I could have saved the company even if I had wanted to. I could have stabilized the situation enough for my parents to get more money from the sale. I could have, but I didn't want to. They aren't ruined, but they hate me for it. In fact, they despise me. The last time my mother called me to say something, I simply replied, "Maybe it's God's plan," and hung up. Let them join the long line of people who hate me and want to see me fall. This line now includes my sister. I didn't know she was pregnant when I exposed her husband for infidelity. I swear she never told me. If I had known, I probably wouldn't have acted that way, aware that there could be violence involved. Fortunately, the child survived, but the pregnancy became high risk. According to my ex, she hated him so much after that she filed for divorce and didn't allow him to see their child, obtaining full custody. He has no rights over the child. He hates me for it, but I told him to look in the mirror and blame himself. This childish man is angry at everything. And how do I sleep at night? With a smile on my face and a lot of satisfaction. I think I haven't slept this well in years. Update 5. People constantly ask for news about my family, although I no longer call them that, and also about Mr. Dindalim. So here's what has happened these past few months since the radioactivity of my nuclear bomb began to subside. Although obviously the radioactivity may last for many years. My father, I know he's so ill because of his disease that my mother has taken him to a care center. It's a big responsibility for her, who also had to find a job to support herself. At least she visits him, but my sister, I know she hasn't gone to see him once. She says she has too much to handle with her child, so it's sad for my father. My father has only one daughter, and even she doesn't come to see him. No, I'm not mistaken. He has only one daughter. My mother had to find a job after years spent as a housewife without much else. I had warned her when I gave her the check. Don't spend it all at once. But she didn't listen to me. $2,500 could have lasted a long time if she had managed it well. Jokes aside, she should be grateful that I managed to get her that. It could have been less. It's not good to be ungrateful. As for my sister, everyone already knows she's a single mother who also had to find a job because her ex-husband hasn't found a job to pay child support yet. Being betrayed by your own sister is painful, but having a child with a Dindalim, I think that surpasses it. And yes, everyone who needed to know knows the name she gave to the thinking head of my ex. My ex knows that as soon as he gets a job, my sister will be on his back like she was on his Dindalim. Some now believe that his Dindalim doesn't work well anymore. I choose to believe that too because I'm certainly not going to check. At least, I've resumed my life after pausing it to execute God's plan. It's not like these plans execute themselves. They need a little push at least. Life truly is a theatrical play written by hands we cannot see, but which seem to possess a rather peculiar sense of humor. Here I am, the reluctant protagonist of a story I never asked to star in, turning betrayal and heartbreak into a real spectacle. After all, who needs happy endings when you can have an ex-fiancé willing to trade whipped cream for money? My heart bleeds. From laughing so much, of course. I've turned my pain into a Hollywood-worthy script, where I am the director, producer, and main critic. Who would have thought revenge could be so much fun? And so, while my family begs for their redemption, I find myself wondering, will they finally realize just how blessed my departure was? Between the wreckage of a bankrupt company and hilarious encounters in hotels, I've learned that divine justice is like whipped cream. It seems harmless until you're covered in it. Now, as I watch my ex trying to use his Dindalim as a moral compass, I understand that perhaps the true divine plan was to teach me that sometimes, to find peace, you first need to create a little chaos, just to keep things interesting, of course. I really want to know your opinion, from the heart, and see you in the next video.